If you've ever wondered what a product manager actually does all day, this is your answer. Over the next few minutes we'll walk the real workflow from defining the role, to understanding customers, finding real problems, prioritizing ruthlessly, and writing requirements engineers can build from. Let's start with the basics. What does a PM actually own, and what don't they own? A PM doesn't write the code or draw the pixels. Their job is understanding the customer, defining the problem, setting priorities, writing requirements, and making the trade-off calls nobody else is positioned to make. A product manager asks, should we build this, and why does it matter? A project manager asks, is this on track? A designer asks, what's the best experience for solving this? Mixing these up is where a lot of friction starts. Picture a PM on a notifications feature. Monday, they review support tickets. Tuesday, a churn interview. Wednesday, a problem statement. Thursday, a PRD draft. Friday, presenting impact to leadership. Notice what's missing: no code, no pixels, no sprint timeline. At an early stage startup, a PM might spend 40% of their time talking directly to users. At a bigger company with a mature product, more time goes to internal alignment and data analysis, because the org itself is the complex thing to navigate. Many startups don't have a dedicated project manager, so PMs absorb some of that work too. That's a company-size reality, not a redefinition of the role. The why is still what makes someone a PM. Now that we know what a PM actually owns, the next question is, how do you find out what your customers really need? Good product decisions start with good research. Let's look at 3 tools PMs use to understand customers and where each one can go wrong. People are unreliable predictors of their own future behavior, but reliable narrators of their past. Instead of "would you use a dashboard like this?" ask, "walk me through the last time you needed to check this." A persona like efficiency Aaron keeps a team's mental model of who they're building for consistent. But personas calcify into stereotypes if they're not revisited whenever new research contradicts them. JTBD explains why customers switch between products that look nothing alike. A paper planner, a phone app, and a project tool can all get hired for the same job, making sure you don't forget something important. Once 4 or 5 people, from different accounts or segments, independently describe the same underlying problem in their own words, you probably have a real pattern, not just one person's isolated complaint. Interviews are the raw research. JTBD is the lens you apply while listening, to find the real motivation behind a stated request. Personas are the artifact you build afterward to keep the whole team aligned on who and what job you heard about. 5 interviews on an expense tool surfaced the same story in different words. People don't log expenses promptly because hunting for the right project code is a hassle. That became traveling Tom, a persona that kept the team from designing for an imagined power user instead. Interviews give you raw signal, personas, and JTBD give you a lens. The next step is turning what you heard into a validated, specific problem worth solving. Not every complaint is a real problem. This module is about separating noisy signals from the underlying pain actually worth solving. A signal is raw evidence: a support ticket, a churn comment, a metric drop. A problem is the validated pain a cluster of signals points to. Confusing the two means building whatever was loudest, not what matters most. Compared users find onboarding confusing to new admins abandon setup at the permission step because roles don't match their job titles, causing 30% of workspaces to never invite a second user. Specific beats vague every time. A rough estimate is enough. How many accounts does this affect? What's the business impact if it stays broken? And how confident are we this is the real cause and not just a symptom? Collect signals for a week or 2 without committing to a fix. Cluster the ones pointing at the same issue. Validate the top clusters with real interviews or data. Only then write the problem statement before anyone proposes a solution. 2 support tickets, a 12% drop in return rate, and a lost renewal all turned out to be the same thing. monthly cadence users had no reason to return between report cycles, so they forgot the product existed. Once you've got a validated problem statement, you're almost never solving just one. The next question is which problems actually deserve the team's time first. With more good ideas than time to build them, PMs lean on frameworks to make the ranking defensible instead of just gut feel. Score each initiative on reach, impact, confidence, and effort, then divide. A digest frequency fix touching 800 users a quarter can easily outscore an SSO feature with huge per-user impact but tiny reach and high effort. Once you've decided what to build, Moscow decides how much ships in version 1. The won't have column does real work. Writing it down explicitly heads off scope creep arguments later. High value, low effort items are quick wins you do first. High effort, low value items you avoid entirely. It's rougher than rice, but perfect for a first pass through a messy backlog. Value versus effort is for a first pass triage of a long backlog. Rice is for a handful of finalists needing a defensible ranking. Moscow is for something you've already decided to build, when you need to scope exactly how much ships. A team drops 6 low-value, high-effort items immediately. The remaining 14 get rice scored, and the top pick a redesigned export gets a Moscow pass. CSV export is a must, Google Sheets is a should, scheduled exports are explicitly a won't. Once you know what wins, engineering and design need more than a ranked list, they need requirements they can actually build against. This is where a validated, prioritized problem becomes something engineering and design can actually build. 2 tools do most of the work, user stories and the PRD. Add a filter drop-down describes a solution. As a team lead, I want to filter results by team member, so I can check one person's numbers without scanning the whole list, describes a need and leaves room for a better solution. Every story needs acceptance criteria, the testable conditions for done. Given, when, then works well, given this starting state, when the user does this, then this specific, checkable thing happens. A good PRD is short enough that people actually read the whole thing. The non-goals section earns its place in every one. Writing "this will not support X" prevents the most common late sprint argument there is. Goal: cut time to find one person's data from 4 minutes to under 15 seconds. Non-goal: no multi-person comparison view this round. Launch plan: ship behind a feature flagged to 20% of accounts, check the metric, then roll out. A weak story like add an export button accidentally locks in a specific solution. A strong story describes the need instead, which leaves room for design and engineering to propose something better than what the PM first imagined. That's the core PM loop: know your role, understand your customer, discover the real problem, prioritize it honestly, and write requirements a team can build from. Everything after this level builds on these 5 habits. All 5 lessons live on the Product Manager Mastery Path site. Level 1 links are on screen now if you want to work through the exercises yourself.